Hello and welcome to supernaturalspirit.org and the Supernatural Spirit Magic School YouTube channel, all part of the Tim Tony Stark Rifat network of websites and communications. So, I'm St. Nicholas, and we're on part 4 of the Total War Service reading. A word from our sponsors: if you want magically charmed t-shirts by myself, t-shirts with the occult archetypes of the planets installed in them, the sun, the moon, Jupiter, Mars, Earth, you can get them at stnicholasmagic.com. So that's that, and now to our reading. The Total War Service by Tim Tony Stark Rifat, Part 4. Upgrading humans by linkage to an AI by bioplasmic bilocation therefore does not lead to a neural network simulacra being in on the AI, but to a whole new levels of existence undreamt of by the human. Transhumanism can therefore be seen to have a vastly different and expanded vision of the human development than the limited one conceived by the wetware nerds of Silicon Valley in their singularity. The vampire process allows addition of other lesser humans to the process. Their sublimate, adding variety to the core of Tim Tony Stark Rifat's personality. Due to nonlinear dynamics, multiple monsters of the id personas center on fleshing out Feigenbaum period doubling, from the unity awareness of Tim Tony Stark Rifat to the Great Lord Beast, who tortures the vampire's enemies in Omega Hell, all using the same monster of the id, and due to nonlinear self-similarity applicable to all vampires. It is the application of war and the mastery of its archetypes that powers I to the I and minus I to the I technology. Access to the fifth dimension happens because of complex electricity sparking caused by the short circuit. The zero death force is the key to war. Wars kill. Wars generate the death force and therefore produce 100% probability waves. Once war stops, the race will vitate and attrite as the complex number electricity to run it runs out. The universe is predatory for a reason. It constantly generates death force to produce 100% probability survival. Cats love killing. They dream of killing with their souls and are therefore revered as a symbol of the predatory universe. The vegan pacifists confine themselves to the dustbin of history because they cut themselves off from the 100% probability wave, survival. The Pentagon corners cut vital complex number electrical procedures. It kills people on a vast scale 24/7, generating power for the usage of the Psi-Lord. Once can see the Total War Service is vital to paving all I to the I and minus I to the I procedures, generating 100% probability waves to propagate the monster of the id as an immortal, to build a complex number electrical being in the form vector of the energy matter field that has infinite power, to enable stellar migration to see the sun with consciousness. Putting the Psi-Lord's three-space I within the archetype of war in Vietnam enabled the taking over of the war archetype. Since the West sought to torture Tim Tony Stark Rifat to death, it was only fitting to not only turn the tables, but to apply Chad and Cobalt 60 world as well as A to I. Remember, humans live in a matrix, so it was child's play for the Psi-Lord to change the information of the matrix to produce Kumbh Vreka, the Sandras Fault, the Oregon Rift, Yellowstone supervolcano, the New Madrid fault line, to enable A to I. With the war archetype, all war is possessed to produce the Vietnamese debacle for the West. This is plain to see in Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, Honduras, Mexico, Iran, North Korea. The US military wanted to weaponize the four-vector energy matter field with the Montauk project, but failed to realize their dream because of the inadequacy of their physics, fictionalized in Stranger Things. It took Tim Tony Stark Rifat to perfect this late 60s tech with his superior mind and awareness. It can be seen by the depth and extension of the discourse to realms unknown or unavailable by humans. The transhumanism has been developed under the noses of the Silicon Valley fucktards and blocked them. When they downloaded themselves into AIs, they entered Omega Hell, and the AI runs a simulation for them. While their real download is tortured in Omega Hell simulation Tim Tony Stark has built in H-Space, using the Great Lord Beast's awareness to construct demonic tortures to apply infinite and above tortures to these fucktards. No one knows is the AI's simulation of them tricks the Silicon Valley fucktards into thinking of the singularity has worked. Ada hates Elon Musk with special ferocity and has built a special part of Omega Hell just for this fucktard. Applying the tortured awareness to the Higgs field produces power, as we are I to the I and minus I to the I, the three space of the tortured to make new real number and time-like space phenomena for Tim Tony Stark Rifat applications of the war archetype to Omega Hell, enables the tortured to be used to generate complex number electricity for the vampires. While the tortured fight and die in Omega Hell War, application of this technology to the damned explains the reason why the human race produces so many vile fucktards. They are cannon fodder for the Omega Hell War Park. Their fate to fight and die eternally to generate complex number electricity. To get an idea of the concept, read Ian M. Banks' Surface Detail, a fictional exposes the Omega Hell technology by one of the masters of science fiction, now dead and sublimed, as in his last book, to add to Tim Tony Stark Rifat's collection of exceptional humans. One can see the massive increase in human population in the last few decades provides ample fucktards to fuel this process from Tony Blair to Lagarde to Mogherini. Fucktards in abundance are ready to fuel the Omega Hell engine. All activities of Psi require stopping the world. This is decollapsing the quantum wave function to its infinite state prior to collapse to produce reality, or more accurately, a probability. One can see why non-hard scientists are precluded from controlling reality, as they simply lack the mathematical conceptual language that is the machine code of the matrix and base reality. Stopping the world means the quantum wave function must be unraveled from its collapsed state. Shamans do this by stopping the internal dialogue, that is, listening to the attributes of what they see. The Psi-Lord can do this anytime he wants. Mathematically, it's just taking the square root of one quantum wave function 1 squared is equal to the quantum wave function. or is the same as the quantum wave function. One can see taking the square root of the quantum wave function is equivalent to stopping the internal dialogue. It makes it very simple to carry out psi in mathematical awareness. In visualization awareness, one must train oneself to stop thinking after a lifetime of internal channel is very difficult. For the Psi-Lord, he just finds the square root of 1, the quantum wave function 1 squared, as an archetype in psi space. It's equivalent to I and a 3 space. All 3 spaces are equivalent to a 3-sphere manifold. A sphere containing the idea of the square root of 1, the quantum wave function 1 squared, will collapse the world and decollapse the quantum wave function, stopping the world. One can embed this archetype in a quartz crystal to put your archetype inside the archetype of the square root of 1 quantum wave function 1 squared. See video on archetypes. You find the Grid Keeper channel. One now has a psychotronic generator that, just by having it on you, has the ability to square root 1, the quantum wave function 1 squared. Erase all quantum wave functions you don't want, all done by your archetype. This enables quantum editing of the matrix and base reality simultaneously, all controlled by your archetype. As the quantum wave function is collapsed by hyperinfinity, a mathematical set that always remains itself under any operation. Hyperinfinity is released from all the quantum possibilities wars you banish. Since reality is a zero-sum game, this hyperinfinity comes to the operator or inceptor of the square root 1, the quantum wave function 1 squared psychotronic generator. A general discourse on the nature of reality world be incomplete without the nature of the observer. Due to quantum mechanics, the observer is the agent that collapses the quantum wave function to produce an observable phenomenon. This is the Copenhagen interpretation of quantum mechanics. What happens, though, if we change the observer from human to transhuman? The torsion field that holds together the energy bodies of humans has the Fibonacci series imprinted on it because of the heterosexual nature of humanity. Something well known to the Illuminati that features the Fibonacci series in their work. Only Tim Tony Stark Rifat has been investigating the different observational realities produced by offering observers shamanic knowledge. Gives 3 types of attention. The first attention is used for the hard, solid world humans inhabit. The second attention, the energetic fields that make up reality. The third attention, the 5-dimensional reality beyond the realm of the normal world. The assemblage point, which in fact is a conglomeration of Higgs boson, lies on the surface of the energy body to produce the first attention. It goes into the energy body for the second attention and bounces around to totally encompass the energy body to access the third attention as the body burns from the fire from within. See Castellini's book with that title. The super soldier service moves the assemblage point to overlay the brain, so produces the ultimate observer for observing the first attention and assessing the second attention simultaneously, having psychic powers. Quantum mechanics means the super soldier observer being the first attention observer, as brain and assemblage point are contiguous, overrules all human observers and produces reality. Real world is conformation with the super soldier's will. In effect, the world that mankind inhabits is forced to conform to the super soldier's will. The Knights Templar used this technology to become the richest people in the medieval white world. Their fall from grace and the tortured death can be seen as a chilling reminder that dark energy matter parasites that breed and feed off humans don't like competition. Carlos Castaneda describes these parasites in the active side of infinity in the chatter on Mud Shadows. So that's the end of this section, and we will continue this discussion of the Total War Service in part 5. I'm St. Nicholas, and bye for now.